lick you from your head to your toes. And I wanna move from the bed down to the floor. And I wanna, you make it so good, I don't wanna leave. But I gotta know what your fantasy says.
Oh, that's good enough for that. What's up, motherfuckers? This is H Rain, bringing you the first ever fantasy football podcast. This is my co-host right here, Bart Tucker. Go ahead, give yourself a quick introduction, man.
How's it going? I'm PCT straight out of Ann Arbor. What's good?
Why is your face so zoomed in on this shit? Anyway, yeah. So what we're gonna do is give you a weekly podcast. Basically running down a recap of Thursday night's game, plus a quick injury report, and we're gonna answer some of your questions that you guys gave me via Twitter and Facebook. And we're gonna try to keep it pretty short, under 10 minutes. And yeah, so we're gonna upload it every Friday. Today's Saturday because it's our first try. We don't have time. And yeah, I hope you guys are excited. So let's jump right into it, man. So Thursday night's game, Baltimore comes out on top. I thought Brandon Weeden had a pretty solid game. He was the other team. I mean, his receivers had a lot of drops, kind of screwed him over. But fantasy-wise, Joe Flacco came through. That was a good matchup for him. So definitely came through on that. And then Ray Rice had a pretty solid game. I think he had 80 something yards total, rushing and receiving. Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden, though, had two big games. Torrey Smith with 97 yards and a touchdown. Well,
Yeah, definitely. Bolden had like 131 yards. He had a solid game. He was targeted 12 times. Torrey Smith was like targeted 12 times as well. And like Ray Rice even, he was targeted 11 times in the receiving end. So that's very solid. It's like Baltimore did a great job in terms of fantasy this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then Trent Richardson, I think he's exceeding some of my expectations right now. He had another touchdown, so that makes 4 touchdowns in 4 games for him. He also had, 57 yards receiving, 47 yards rushing. So that's some good output right there from him. And I think Torrey Smith moving forward is more of a matchup play. I think he's going to be pretty solid though. But he's a really big deep threat. So if they're not getting the deep ball to go in that game, he might not be as productive. But I like what I see from him, and we'll see. I think right now he's a flex play. Maybe he's definitely a starter in a 3 wide receiver league, but right now he's a flex play, and he could move into top 20 if he produces consistently. So we'll see.
Definitely agree with that.
And then all right, let's jump to the injury report then. Some quick hits on some big players. First guy is Matthew Stafford. He did practice and is expected to play, so Stafford owners, he's probable, definitely play him. Ahmad Bradshaw is also expected to play. It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out with him and Andre Brown because Andre Brown produced really well for them. I think Bradshaw will get the bulk of the carries, but I think moving forward for the rest of the season, it'll be pretty split between both those guys. I just think Andre Brown's really talented and is definitely gonna get a lot of work because Coughlin really liked what he saw, like the game and a half he played. And then Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller. This is a big one. Both guys are listed as questionable right now. Both guys were limited in practice. I really don't know what to expect. My gut feeling says that C.J. Spiller won't play and Fred Jackson will. Even if Fred Jackson plays, though, I think he's going to split carries with Tashard Choice. And if both these guys play, I think they're going to split carries C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson. I think moving forward for us this season, this is definitely a split workload because both those guys are super talented. I think more upside is C.J. Spiller just because he's a better pass catcher and he's really more explosive. So I think he's definitely still going to produce and might even probably will finish top 20 running back wise, even splitting carries with Fred Jackson. Another big name is Steven Jackson, who is listed as questionable right now. He's going to be a game time decision. He's a really tough dude. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he came out and played. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if he sat out. If I had to pick one, I think he is going to play. But I also think Daryl Richardson, I think is the backup, is definitely going to take some carries away from him. They're looking for a change of pace guy right now, and I think they're going to use both of them to definitely take a little bit of load off of Steven Jackson. The last 2 remaining guys, Matt Forte. Let's see, he is listed as questionable right now. I definitely think he's going to play. He's been practicing. He's been limited in practice, but because it's a Monday night game, I think he's definitely going to come out and play. Bush is also a little banged up, so I think both those guys will definitely play. And the last guy is Reggie Bush. I think Reggie Bush is going to play. He practiced all week. He's having a monster year so far. I think he's going to play for sure. All right, that's a quick injury report. Boom. Going to questions now. So here's some questions you guys gave us from Twitter or Facebook. We're going to try and answer all of them. Let's see. The first question was asked by anonymous user. His name is anonymous. He asked, what do you think about Ryan Williams for the rest of the year? PCT. What do you think, man?
Yeah. So I really like what Ryan Williams did in week 3. Was very impressed. He ran the ball 13 times for 83 yards, rushing at 6.4 yards per carry. BD Wells out with the toe injury. I think like Ryan Williams has a lot of potential. Definitely would consider him a flex play in a 10 to or 12 team league. In addition to that, this week he's playing Miami, which is the number 3 ranked rush defense. So I think they'll contain him better than what Philadelphia did. However, saying that, I think he will get a good amount of workload now that he's not splitting carries with Beanie Wells. So I see a lot of upside for him and would definitely consider him as a flex play. And maybe as the season progresses, he could even jump to a number 2 running back.
I definitely agree with you there. I think he has great potential to jump into number 2 running back spot. There's not a lot of guys getting that many carries. You see a lot of teams with 2 backs right now, but I think he's ready to take that workhorse load. I think he's going to really produce, but we have some tough matchups moving forward, but I still think he's definitely a really good flex option.
Yep, definitely agree.
Next question, motherfucker. All right, next question is from some Twitter follower. His name is Tucker Max. He's asking, should I start Demarius Moore, Cedric Benson, or Fred Jackson / Tashard Choice at my flex position? I think at the flex spot, to have a really good team, you need to have a good running back at the flex spot, just because they're guaranteed their touches. That's just my motto. And I think picking from these 3 guys, I think Benson has the most favorable matchup right now, especially versus New Orleans their defense is ranked dead last. I think that's a great matchup. I think the Packers know they need to start running the ball a little bit more. So I think Benson's going to have a pretty solid game. Definitely, I'm definitely picking him from those 3 guys.
Yeah, just to say a little bit more about Cedric Benson. Like, he had 37 carries the past 2 weeks, doing very well, and getting consistent amount of carries for Green Bay. And I guess that stability factor is like great in the flex play. Like, if you know someone's going to get touches, and I think Cedric Benson is that like person. So definitely want Cedric Benson as a flex. Fred Jackson, there's just like too much uncertainty out there. How much of the workload will he actually get? He has progressed well throughout practice this week. However, his knee is still somewhat sore.
Yep.
Darius Thomas had a great performance last week, was targeted 11 times against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going forward, he is going to be targeted more throughout the season. However, I would rather have Cedric Benson as my flex.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. Let's just get this out of the way. I know I look like a douchebag with a backwards snapback, but it had to be done. I'm sorry. I'm taking the leap. I'm going to start wearing my hat backwards from now on. I don't care if I look like a douchebag. Sorry. Just get that out of the way. Anyway, next question is from one of our viewers. His name is Nayan Patel. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's asking, do I start Andrew Hawkins? And if yes, for who? Vincent Jackson, Roddy White, Brandon Lloyd. I think in that case, with those receivers, I don't think you're starting Hawkins over any of them. But I think Hawkins, you definitely need to pick him up. They're using him pretty often. He's really quick. I think he can really explode and get that 80-yard touchdown once in a while. But in terms of those 3 guys, I'm not starting Hawkins over any of those guys. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, like I agree with you completely. I think Andrew Hawkins has great potential. However, we're talking about like Roddy White, one of the best wide receivers in fantasy football, in my opinion. He's facing Carolina this weekend, which is like a matchup that I would like to see. But I think Roddy White will excel in that. Brandon Lloyd plays almost like every down for New England, so Brady really enjoys like playing with him. So I really like Lloyd as well. And then Vincent Jackson's very volatile. He'll have those games where he'll break out for like 15 plus points.
Yeah.
But then
he's definitely not one of those stars. I don't know. I don't really trust him because he's gonna have his 3 catches for 50 yards, but a couple games because he's really more just a deep ball guy too. But I think playing the Redskins, I think they're playing the Skins, right? That's super favorable matchup. I think Amendola like 2 weeks ago had like 15 catches, 160 yards versus them. So Vincent Jackson's definitely a must start if you own him.
Plus Brandon Lloyd's playing Buffalo this week, so that's another favorable
matchup.
All,
great.
So I think these 3 wide receivers I would start over Andre Hawkins at this point.
Definitely. Let's see. Next question is Jason. He's asking who do I start, RG3 or Cam Newton?
So with this one, I actually really like RG3 still. They're playing the Bucs, I believe, this weekend, who gave up 353 passing yards per game so far. And RG3 is like rushing the ball more, so I feel like that's another way to get more points. That's great for his fantasy owners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like RG3 this week versus the Bucks. I think Cam's playing the Falcons, so much tougher D to face. So I definitely like RG3 in this
Yeah,
matchup.
I think they're both really comparable players. They both run a lot. They both pass a lot too. But I think RG3 is really right. He's been the number one fantasy QB so far. I think you just stick with him right now. I think you pretty much start him over everyone unless they're named Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, or Tom Brady, depending on the matchup. But RG3 is I'm definitely going with RG3 in that case. And the same Jason also asked, what can you expect if you want to trade either RG3 or Cam? That's a pretty good duo to have as quarterback. I think you should definitely. I'm not sure because if it's a 10-team league, each team's going to have a quarterback. They're pretty much set. You kind of have to wait for someone to get injured. But I think if I wanted to trade one of those two guys, I'm definitely trading RG3 just because the stock is super high right now. He's more likely to get injured between both the guys. He's a lot more little. He takes some big hits. So I think it's definitely a sell high right now. I think if you buy RG3 right now, he's not going to disappoint you for the rest of the year. Just have to be careful if he's going to get injured or not. And I feel like his body's just like the same build as Mike Vick. I think if he gets another couple hits, he might be injured on like week 8. So if you want to trade one of those two guys, I think you're definitely trading RG3 between both of them.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
Next.
Our next question is from Bintu18. He said, "Let me know what you think about Steven Jackson. Buy or sell? What do you think about this?"
I'm definitely. This is kind of bad for me because I definitely sold him in one of my leagues just a couple weeks ago. But if I had to pick, I'm definitely selling Steven Jackson. I think it's not his fault. That line is just awful in St. Louis. He's going to have a couple lingering injuries, and I also think they're going to use Richardson often, split carries with him. So I think his value decreases a little bit. But if he does get healthy, I think he definitely produce and still finish the top 20 bag. Probably lower end, like 19, 20 range. But I think if you want, if his stock's a little low right now, so I don't know how much you can get for him. But if you want to definitely sell, try to get something good in return.
Like on the other end, I'd actually like to buy Steven Jackson. I think he's like very undervalued. Didn't have he had an awful week last week against Chicago. However, I feel like he could definitely progress throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's just give it some time. It's still the beginning of the year. I still think he's like the main point of that offense and will still produce and will still get like that goal line carry. And I do think he will definitely finish in the top 20 running backs for the season. So I'm definitely buying.
Hell yeah, man. Bye. All right. Shut up. No, you're selling. All right. Next question is from this kid named Ronak. He's asking, do you start Dwayne Bowe or Eric Decker? This is a simple one. No explanation needed. I'm going with Dwayne Bowe on this just because I think Kansas City defense is awful. They're throwing the ball so much, and Dwayne Bowe is just getting targeted a lot, and I feel like he's going to finish with over 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, definitely agree. And plus in Denver, the situation is much different where Peyton Manning has other targets that he uses quite frequently, like Demaryius Thomas, Jacob Tamme. Whereas like Castle's continuously just throwing it to like Dwayne Bowe most of the time. And I really think that Dwayne Bowe's going to have a phenomenal year. And I think with this week's matchup, I really like Dwayne Bowe over Eric Decker.
All right, show. All right, next question. It's DJ J Khan, another Twitter follower. He's asking who should I start for running back this week: Ridley, Fred Jackson, or Andre Brown? Quick answer for me is definitely Stephen Ridley. That's a favorable matchup with Buffalo. And you don't know how the situation with Fred Jackson and Andre Brown is going to carry out. They're probably likely to split carries, so Stephen Ridley for sure.
Yeah, I like Ridley as well. He's facing the Bills this week, and the Bills have given up 4.1 yards per carry. And they're also top 10 in rushing yards allowed in the red zone, where I think like Ridley could be a good play for the Patriots, like is in the red zone, specifically for those touches on the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
Bradshaw's going to be back, is looking forward to coming back, but I'm sure they'll split the workload with Bradshaw and Antonio Brown for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, Fred Jackson, there's just too much uncertainty out there. Definitely going with Ridley this week.
All right, and then let's see. We got one more question. It's from a Twitter follower, HirschP3. He's asking, do I start Danny Amendola or Brandon Marshall? And he's saying Dallas has the best corners in the league. And he's also asking to pick between Hawkins and Pierre Thomas. The first question, I'm definitely going with Marshall. I think Marshall's a must-start every week. He's going to finish the top 10 wide receiver. Regardless of matchup, I'm definitely starting Marshall over Amendola every week.
Yeah, definitely. I really like Marshall. Like he's Cutler's go-to guy.
Mhm.
You have to play Marshall. He's like gonna be a top 10 wide receiver.
Definitely.
And I still like him even if they're facing the Cowboys.
All right, and real quick, let's see what do you got. You got either Hawkins or Pierre Thomas.
I think I'm gonna go with Hawkins on this one.
Same here.
Just because like in New Orleans there's like so much uncertainty with the running back position. Like last week, like Sproles got like the most got a good amount of the carries. You just have Mark Ingram there, and then you have Pierre Thomas. So you have like three running backs who don't know like what their workload's gonna be.
Right, week to week.
Like they just like kind of like go with the flow and see how the game runs, and that's how they split up their carries. And therefore, I really like Hawkins as a flex play rather than starting Pierre Thomas.
All right, for sure. And then let's see, we got a couple joke questions this week. So if you guys want to send in some funny questions, I don't mind. We're gonna pick a couple of them and just read them out. So this one is from let's see. This one is from the real Uksher from Twitter. He's trying to act smart and he's asking, should I pick up Donovan McNabb from the waiver wire? All right, good one, Uksher. That's a good one. All right. Donovan McNabb's somewhere eating Twinkies right now on his couch, unemployed. Yeah, that guy's shut up, Uksher. And this one's for all the Monday people. This one's awesome. It's from Mihir, you there from Twitter. He's asking, who has the bigger bull butt, Apu or Sammy P? Definitely, like, I just think it's Apu. I think that guy's like, that thing's probably like, he's a tripod, dude. Like, that thing's probably huge, man. It's just not the. All right, and yeah, that concludes our fantasy podcast this week. Stay tuned for next week's podcast. Send us some questions. Definitely excited. Hope you guys liked our first podcast. We're gonna try and improve every week. Motherfuckers, still up the rock. All right, PT, say your farewell, bro.
Have a good one.
God bless America. Good night, India. Good night.